Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the Red Mist podcast with me, Sishadri. And it's been a hot minute, but we're back with raw reactions for West Ham United versus Liverpool at the London Stadium. It's going to be an interesting game, and I never thought I would say that about a game between Liverpool and West Ham, but I am saying that right now because this is a game between two sides who are very, very close together in the top half of the table. West Ham, in fact, with a win, could go above Liverpool right now. Both teams have played 20 games. West Ham on 35 points with 10 wins, 5 draws and 5 losses. Liverpool 10 wins, 7 draws, 3 losses, 37 points. So yeah, it's pretty close margins up at the top of the table. Obviously, Liverpool come into this game not on great form, although they did win their last game, but that's the first win in the last 5 in all competitions. Whereas West Ham 4 wins out of 5 in the last 5 games in whatever competition they've played. So they're in good form right now. Some of the players have done really well. If you guys listen to the Team of the Year podcast, Team of the Year episode that I've got so far, if you guys did miss that one, do check that one out. That's the one right before this. But if you guys did miss that, you would have known, spoiler alert, that Declan Rice is in my starting midfield. So, and I've given honorable mentions to I think it was Souček, Thomas Souček. I gave an honorable mention to Souček. I gave honorable mentions to Kufal as well. So, yeah, it's been a pretty solid season for West Ham, and which is really surprising because West Ham, like as a team, I always knew they had potential because when my preseason predictions, I said West Ham are like the Everton of the bottom half. Like they have a really good team, which if they can get their act together, they can perform. But I didn't think at the time that they would. I didn't think they were going to be relegated, but I thought they were going to be close to it. But for them to be fifth, fair play to them. They're playing really well, and this is a big game for us. Even more so because Leicester is losing 3-1 to Leeds, which means that if Leicester finish this game as it stands, they will be 2 points above with, having played one game more. And a win would get us closer to both Leicester and Manchester United. It would, in fact, allow us to leapfrog Leicester and then get closer to Manchester United, bring the gap down to just 4 points when you compare it to Manchester City. But obviously, City's played a game less. So that's also something to be looking at. Obviously, City, in my opinion, I think the most consistent team right now in the league, just based off the last couple of months. And, they're just on a roll right now. This looks like a complete title-winning team, to be honest. Like we all knew City would eventually get there. Obviously, they had a little bit of a slow start, but we all knew they'll eventually get there, and they are proving their title credentials right now. They're taking advantage of the fact that United seem overawed by the prospect of a title fight. Liverpool have their injury issues, their issues at centre-back and stuff. So, yeah, it's not been an ideal season for Liverpool. So, obviously, City, being the complete team that they are, I think they can actually go on and win this season. I think it's going to be very, very difficult. There's a game coming up, obviously, in a couple of weeks between Liverpool and Manchester City at Anfield. So, that's going to be big. If we win that, we close the gap down, maybe make it more of a race. But if City manage to even get out of it with a draw, then I think we're in for a really, really tough ride as far as winning the Premier League title is concerned. But we're not here to talk about Liverpool. We are here to talk about Liverpool, but we're not here to talk about Manchester City. We're here to talk about West Ham United. Obviously, a very, very good team. Like I said, David Moyes. My money was honestly on him. I said West Ham, especially after that first game against Newcastle, all the way back, feels like ages ago right now. But I said West Ham look like a club in trouble, and if they can, I said this, I said if there was one club that if they would pull the trigger when they're in trouble first, I anticipate it to be West Ham. And fair play to David Moyes. He's done an amazing job at the Hammers at London Stadium, and obviously he's still in the job, so they've not pulled any sort of trigger. The club as such, maybe they've got other issues, but I think overall the fact that they're winning is kind of keeping it all to the side. Spirits are high at West Ham. Obviously, I know a couple of West Ham fans, and they're just overjoyed at the way this season's going. This is a strange season for everyone, and we've heard it often on punditry as well, on Sky Sports, BT, wherever you watch. There might be one or two teams who qualify for Europa League, qualify for Champions League, and then you're like, okay, do they really belong there? And this is that sort of a season, and West Ham look in prime position to capitalize. Obviously, Tottenham are right behind them. They've played one game less than even West Ham have, so they could potentially go ahead if they win, which makes this game all the more crucial for West Ham as well. But yeah, it's been an interesting season so far. West Ham's done really well. I think, for me, my most impressive performer out of all of this, Declan Rice, just the way he's performed. As I put him in my team of the season simply because defensively we all knew what Declan Rice was the last couple of years, but offensively this year he's controlled the tempo. He's done really well, and along with Souček, he's given West Ham a solidity in midfield as well as given them something going forward, which I didn't think Declan Rice had in him. I thought he was a good player, but I didn't think he had that in his locker. But we all talk of Harry Kane and how he's blossomed into this 9.5 kind of striker. And the same thing with Declan Rice. He's a number 6, but now he's starting to show elements of his game where he could potentially be a deep lying playmaker as well. So that's a really big advantage for West Ham. So for me, he's been really impressive, which is why he made it into my starting 11 in the team of the season so far. I don't know if he's going to stay there. Depends on how West Ham perform. Depends on how he performs. But it looks like a good shout right now. But as per usual with Raw Reactions, if you guys don't know the format, we look at, I record my reactions live pre-game, halftime, and at full time, and then compile them into one full episode. Pre-game, I look at the lineups, and as per usual, we're going to start with the opposition. So we've got Lucas Fabianski in goal. Had a really great season a few years back, but I think since then he's kind of fallen apart. But this season, obviously, he's been helped out by the fact that his defense is doing quite well. In defense, you've got Sofiane Koufal at right back, Craig Dawson, Angelo Ogbonna, and Aaron Cresswell, another person who's having a really good season, Aaron Cresswell. It's even propelled him into conversation for England. Obviously, it's a little late in his career right now, so I don't think he will get in, especially considering the form that Luke Shaw's in and Ben Chilwell is in as well. So it's a little bit of and James Justin as well, if you take, if Gareth Southgate was going to go young. So I don't think Cresswell will get into the England team, but the fact that he's being in the conversation just shows you how good he's been this year. In midfield, you've got Declan Rice and Thomas Souček, and then you've got Fornals, Jared Bowen, Said Benrahma, Mikhail Antonio. Said Benrahma, obviously, one of the people that I've been very, very impressed by in the Championship last year. Hasn't quite translated that form into the Premier League so far, but I think he will come good. I don't think, that Brentford team was really good with Benrahma, Watkins, and all these guys, but I think Watkins has transferred his skills more efficiently into the Premier League than Benrahma. Obviously, Benrahma's had a little bit, he's sort of been eased into the lineup, but now finds himself at the starting lineup, and it should be a good game to play against these guys. Very creative players. Jared Bowen's going to be working hard. He's more of a hard worker than a creative guy. But Fornals, Benrahma, they're going to be good. Fornals has a good record of scoring against Liverpool. Also, he scored in the first meeting that we had, which was I think a 2-1 win. So yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed by this West Ham side. No question about it. They play some good, solid football. I wouldn't say it's very attractive. I wouldn't say it's easy on the eye, but it's definitely good, efficient football, and I think it's better than what they did last year, which, I think this year, if they continue this gives them a good platform to build on for next year, maybe challenge for Europa in a couple of years' time. But obviously, it's difficult. It's the Premier League, and teams around you are going to be building as well, so it's not it's maybe easier said than done, but definitely this season for West Ham is going to be good. If they finish in the top half, at least, I think they've surpassed all expectation compared to last year and the season that they had last year, which was disappointing to say the least. The off-season was nothing to write back home about. So definitely, finishing in the top half would be really good. Anything beyond that, Europa League qualification even would be unbelievable. Maybe a good cup run as well with the form that they're in. You never know. Anything can happen. But yeah, Liverpool going into this game against West Ham, we've had some really good games against West Ham. I remember there was one where I think we beat them 4-0 or 4-1. I remember Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was part of the goal scorers that day. So that was a really good game. But we've had some good games against West Ham. Always, a tough place to go to, the London Stadium. Crowds are going to be an issue because West Ham, I think, feed a lot of stuff from the crowd, which can be both a positive and a negative when things are not going your way. I think the West Ham crowd is kind of a tough one on the team, but I think overall, they are a good crowd to have on your side if you are playing well, which is the case right now. But yeah, Liverpool's lineup, we've got Alisson in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Nat Phillips comes into the starting lineup alongside Jordan Henderson. So Fabinho misses out this time with injury. Obviously, Klopp did say yesterday they should be back for the game against Manchester City. I think he's going to miss the game against Brighton as well, which is a shame because he's done really well at centre-back. Again, another guy who was in my team of the season so far. So, unbelievable performances from him. Jordan Henderson is adapting. He's done quite well the last few games. He's proven a lot of people wrong, including myself. I thought, maybe the role was too much of adaptability for him, but I think Henderson's done really well. Got Andy Robertson on the left-hand side, as per usual. I did think Robbo might be rotated a little bit this game. Maybe next game we might see him sit that one out for Simikas, who's also back to fitness. So we might see that happen. But I kind of expected Robertson to be benched one of these two games. Hopefully the Brighton game he is benched, but we'll see how that goes. But that's our back four: Trent, Nat Phillips, Jordan Henderson, and Andy Robertson as well. I think the backline is there for the taking. I think Mikhail Antonio against Nat Phillips and Jordan Henderson, I'm not particularly confident. I think Phillips can handle the physicality of it. It's just the speed that concerns me because Antonio is fast. Henderson's fast, decently fast. I think Henderson can keep up with Antonio, but if I'm Antonio, I'm looking to play down that right hand side because Trent's obviously going to be bombing forward. I would want to take on Nat Phillips one-on-one. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. I think Fornals is also going to be playing on that side. So, that side's it's going to be a side. It's something that I am worried about going into this game. So I am worried about Trent and the whole right hand side in general. Trent and Nat Phillips and that whole right hand side in general. Now if they switch and if Phillips plays on the left, I think that balances out a little bit more. But I do still think just the fact that we've not got our regular centre backs, just the fact that we've got Nat Phillips, who he's a good player. No offense to him, he's a good player. He's much better than me anyway. But he's not a Premier League, he's not a Liverpool quality centre back. Like he's maybe a lower down, maybe you're talking Brighton, maybe Fulham, that sort of team could make do with Nat Phillips. But I think, as a Liverpool player, Nat Phillips, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to wear the shirt because he has given good performances whenever he's played. So far he's kind of okay, but he's just not that quality. That's what I mean. In midfield, we've got Gini Wijnaldum, James Milner, Thiago Alcantara, pretty expected. I would say Thiago at the base of the midfield trio, and then you've got Milner and Wijnaldum, just like in the last game. So I think, I think it's going to be a good game for Thiago. I think defensively, though, I'm a little worried for Thiago because he does tend to have this tendency to dive into challenges, which I don't think is ideal and can get him into trouble. I think he's got a couple of yellow cards as well off of that. So I do think that's one aspect of the game that he does need to work with the coaching staff and maybe, try and iron out some mistakes. Try and play that number 6 role really well. Up front, we've got... in front of him, we've got Milner and Wijnaldum, who I think did really well the last couple of games, the last game when they started. And I thought they did well. I mean, they weren't bad, but they did quite well, in fact, against Tottenham. So I wouldn't, be worried too much. I did think maybe Curtis Jones might get a look in because I think we do need some sort of creativity, and I think Jones does tend to bring that. But that being said, we are actually going to be playing with Shaqiri, Salah and Origi up front, which, I'll get to Origi in a bit, but Shaqiri being in the lineup does give me reason to be optimistic about our front three because I think he's very creative. He's proven that whenever he's played and, now he's getting a consistent run of games and he is, being able to prove that on a daily basis. Now, am I a big fan of Origi starting this game? I am not. I think it's fair to say that Origi's had a very underwhelming season, not been great, and that game against Burnley just sort of summed it up. Things just aren't going his way. So for me, I would say West Ham, Origi. I can see why because West Ham centre backs are physical. Craig Dawson and Angelo Ogbonna. I think Origi could threaten them a little bit more physically than maybe Firmino can, but Firmino can make use of their slow pace because Dawson and Ogbonna, they're both not the fastest at this thing. They can get caught out a little bit and, Firmino can use his movement, his 1-2s, and he's sort of slowly coming back into form. So I don't know why he's been rested. I would much rather him rest the game against Brighton than this game. And, because I feel like, and plus, if he rests the game against Brighton, he's got a good sort of week's rest or so, he's got a long rest before he play Manchester City. So, yeah, I think personally, I would say if I was Klopp, I would have gone for Firmino over Origi. But, he's starting this game. I'm going to put my faith in him. Hopefully, Origi comes good. It's going to do him a lot of good for his own confidence, I think. If he scores today, if, he can get on the score sheet, if he can at least get an assist, I think that'd be a good game for Divock Origi. But he needs that confidence. He needs that confidence boost. He needs this game. He needs this game really, really badly. And I'm hoping that he's wanting to atone for the mistake against Burnley because that's a huge mistake, to miss that one-on-one and then to watch your team lose that unbeaten record, knowing, that maybe if you had scored, the game would be different. Hopefully, Origi wants to atone for that, and hopefully, he wants to play with some sort of determination, some sort of fire under his ass, and we can make use of that. But on the bench, we've got Adrian, Kevin Kelleher. I've got Bobby Firmino, obviously, he's being rested. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's at the bench. Curtis Jones on the bench. Minamino, Tsimikas, Reece Williams, Nico Williams, all of them on the bench. For West Ham, meanwhile, we've got Martin, who is their goalkeeper. He's on the bench. Ryan Fredericks, Issa Diop. He's been linked to a move to Liverpool, by the way. So, we might get to him a little bit later on in the show. But Issa Diop, Johnson, Balbuena, Noble, Lanzini, Yarmolenko, Odubeko. So, Odubeko is obviously one of the academy products for them. A lot of creativity in that West Ham bench. Lanzini, Yarmolenko. Yarmolenko maybe doesn't work as hard defensively, which is why he's often found himself on the bench. But I do think, if they needed some creativity, I think Lanzini always gives them that. So it's going to be an interesting, it's going to be a good game. Predictions, I'm going to go for a nervy game because I think West Ham are going to be good. They're going to be organized. I'm going to say it's going to be a narrow 1-0 win for us. I think we're going to nick a goal. I think Salah's going to come up with something brilliant, but I don't think it's going to go much more than that. So for me, that's the predictions. That's my pre-game segment of Raw Reactions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys back again at halftime. Right, guys, it is halftime and it is 0-0 at the London Stadium between West Ham United and Liverpool. And once again, it is a familiar pattern, a familiar blueprint. We've seen this movie 1,000 times. It's back to haunt us again. A well-organized side, just sitting back. No, I wouldn't say no intent to create because they did create a few chances. They have tried to go forward a little bit. But by and large, it's been Liverpool with the ball, but not many chances created, except towards the end of the first half. I thought we got a couple of moments where he looked good. But just in general, we've been quite pathetic. Game's been quite boring because we've just probed and we just can't seem to find the final third. We just can't seem to get going in the final third. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I'm going to start with Divock Origi. I think, the dynamism that Sadio Mane brings, obviously, for those of you who don't know, Mane is out with a minor muscle injury. So the dynamism that he brings is missing. The movement that he brings is missing. The creativity that he brings is missing. I cannot for the love of me explain why Firmino is not played. I do get it because it's less than 72 hours since we played Tottenham, so maybe he's being rested, which is what they said in commentary as well. So I do get that, but that being said, Mo Salah has been playing game after game after game. So I don't know where, I wouldn't be surprised if in this game Salah gets substituted and Firmino comes on later on at some point, but this game is crying out for Firmino because there is literally no creativity with Origi up front. And I wouldn't say he's playing up front because I think Shaqiri's been given kind of a free role and Origi comes in from the left, Salah from the right, sort of strikerless in a way. But it just those little 1-2s, the little movements, they're all missing. And I can't for the love of me understand why Origi's in the starting lineup, why Minamino's not in the starting lineup, why Shaqiri can't be on the wing with Salah up front and maybe Minamino on the other side, or why Curtis Jones is not starting. There's just too many questions in my head right now, and I can't seem to get my head around it because I don't know. There's just too many questions. Like I can't. We've just not looked good. Salah's been kind of anonymous throughout the game. Can't blame him. There's not been much going on through there. Trent has looked better in recent games, and it's continued this game as well. It's looked good, but Robertson needs to improve. He's had a couple of good moments, but not his best game so far. I do feel like he can improve a lot more. Milner, Wijnaldum, they're trying. Thiago's trying. He had that wonderful pass towards the end towards Origi. Obviously, a difficult chance to finish, but the pass was brilliant. Thiago's kind of trying to impose as well. Shaqiri's trying to impose as well. His work rate has been absolutely insane for Zed on Shaqiri, but it's the same blueprint again. It's the same thing that I've been saying game after game after game, and this time we can feel the absence of Mane. We can feel the downgrade in quality as well because the previous games with Burnley and with Manchester United, even when we had the ball, we were probing and stuff like that. The quality was there with Mane on the field, with Firmino on the field, even with Spurs as well, even against Spurs as well. But just, with Origi on the pitch and with us playing pretty much a strikerless formation, I don't know if we're trying something similar to what Man United tried, because I think they tried one with Rashford and Martial on either wings, or Greenwood on either wings in the FA Cup. And I don't know if we're trying something similar, but they have Bruno Fernandes in between who can create, and we have Xherdan Shaqiri, and I love Shaqiri. He is really good, but he's no Bruno Fernandes. But that being said, Shaqiri's done really well. I thought he was one of the most, in fact, the most impressive player aside from Nat Phillips, who I'll get to in a little bit. But I think overall, just the feeling that it's going to be the same story all over again. I just can't help avoid it, because the fact of the matter is we're struggling to create. We're struggling to create chances. We have the ball, yes, but we're struggling to create chances. The pass from Thiago was good. Good defending as well from West Ham. Credit where credit's due. They've been very organized. They've been very good. But we knew that they're going to be this. We knew this is their identity. We knew they're okay with not having the ball. And we have to learn to break these sides down, which clearly we struggle with. When we don't have the front three there, or when we don't have Diogo Jota as part of the front three, we struggle. And maybe Minamino is one of those players who can help out in this game, because he is creative. He can get between the lines. He's not, I wouldn't say he's had the best career in a Liverpool shirt, but honestly, I think, this is a game that is crying out for him. This is a game that's crying out for Firmino. This is a game that's crying out for a little bit of creativity. And yeah, it's just been a very disappointing performance. Overall, I think Nat Phillips has been really good. Jordan Henderson's been really good. A couple of sloppy passes through the first half. I think that's one more thing that I noticed. I don't think we were at our clinical best, even in terms of just passing the ball. I think we could do a lot better. Made some silly mistakes, made some silly errors, schoolboy errors, which I think, maybe part of the reason is fatigue, but you're professional footballers, you shouldn't be making mistakes like that. You shouldn't be having a problem controlling simple passes, giving a pass off to someone else who's close by. So, I there's a lot to critique in this performance, really. But I think overall, the overriding opinion for me is that so far we've struggled to break down West Ham. And I anticipated this. I said before the game in my predictions, this is going to be a nervy 1-1 win. Sorry, a 1-0 win. I was 1-1 a win. Anyway, this is going to be a nervy 1-0 win for us. So I expected this. Just based off of the lineups, I wasn't quite confident we might be able... Like, West Ham looking at this lineup will be like, okay, we can get a result against this team. Now, obviously, the passage of play has been different. I think West Ham have been more of a threat from set pieces than they have been from open play. The one corner that I don't know why they took it short, because they very clearly have the advantage when it comes to height. So if I was them, I would just put it straight into the box. But they took it short, and thank God for that. But yeah, they've got Declan Rice, Souček, Okpona, who's the other center? Craig Dawson. All these guys are much better at being a threat in the box than any Liverpool player is. So for me, it's just a very disappointing performance. Just another Liverpool story all over again. I think we can do. I think we can just do a lot better. And Origi, he's shown glimpses, but they've literally just been like one or two moments this season. And even in this game, it's probably been like one moment or something. But his movement's slow. He's painful to watch. It's painful to watch. I can't even lie. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes in the second half. Honestly, I don't even like. If you're a Liverpool fan and you're on your phone for most of the first half, I don't even blame you, because the game's just been that boring. So yeah, I don't blame you. But I think we're missing the dynamism of Firmino and Mane. And the fact that Diogo Jota is not playing, obviously, I've said it before, I'll say it again, it was a useless game in which he played. He shouldn't have played that game. That is on Jurgen Klopp, no question about it. But it is what it is. Let's see in the second half what happens. But yeah, that's been my reaction from halftime. Hopefully in the second half, I am hoping we can get a little more creativity. Maybe Curtis Jones in as well. Maybe Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain for a little bit of long-range threat. But we need something, man. We need to change something. We need to get something going. And I hope Klopp doesn't wait till like the 75th or the 80th minute to make those changes. Hopefully we can actually make those changes early. We can make those changes decisively. And hopefully we can get something out of this game. And we need to get 3 points out of this game because Leicester's drop points. We can go above them. We can close the gap to the Manchester clubs, and we need this. We desperately need to close the gap to the Manchester clubs. So let's not, let's hope that we will get 3 points out of this game. But that is it from me at halftime, and right after this transition, you should be seeing my reaction from full time. Right, guys, it is full time, and what a game. At halftime, this game had no indication that there were going to be goals in it. I was pretty much, I was like, okay, this is just going to be a max of 1-0 win, if at all that. It's probably going to be a 0-0 at the end of the day, and David Moyes is going to go home happy having taken a point away from Liverpool. But oh my God, 3-1 winners, Mo Salah with the brace, and I cannot for the love of me remember who scored the third goal, which is very, very weird because Gini Wijnaldum, yes, of course, Wijnaldum scored the third goal. I mean, unbelievable goals, all three of them, just unbelievable goals. The one for West Ham, I think it was, I want to say it was Kufal who scored the goal, or Souček, I don't remember. I think it's one of those two, but I was just so caught up in the fact that, we had scored three amazing, wonderful goals. And I called it at halftime, by the way. I called it at halftime that Curtis Jones was supposed to come on and he would do something. And this man, he didn't get the assist. Or he did get the assist. He did get the assist for the first goal. But he was the one who started off the move as well. He started off the move, won the ball up in midfield. I think he received the ball in midfield, turned, ran right at the heart of the West Ham defense, goes in, cuts towards the right, passes it to Mo Salah. Mo Salah, does his thing, and it's a goal. Before you know it, Liverpool are 1-0 up. I mean, it is absolutely brilliant. I mean, the finish was unbelievable. Let's not, take anything away from the finish, but that was unbelievable as a finish. But wow, Curtis Jones, I mean, look, we just needed that creativity. With Milner, we had hard work. We just didn't have creativity. And obviously, Milner was very disappointed to come on. But having seen what Curtis did, like literally 2 minutes after he came off, Milner was like, yep, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good with being subbed if Curtis is going to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it was, to me, I think this was one of the best 3 Liverpool goals that I've seen in a while. In a while, I think this was I think these were 3 really good goals within the same game. And the second goal, I mean, what do I even say? 15 seconds from when West Ham took the corner to when Liverpool scored. Just the speed at which this whole thing was done, the precision at which this whole thing was done. I don't think I have seen a better counter-attacking goal this season. And I may be wrong because obviously there's a lot of matches that I haven't seen. There's a lot of teams that I haven't seen. But I can't remember right off the top of my head. Let's put it that way. I can't remember right off the top of my head a goal that was so beautifully constructed and so quickly constructed. The corner comes in, cleared out, falls out to Trent. Trent plays this unbelievable diagonal ball towards Xherdan Shaqiri. Another player very underappreciated during his time at Liverpool, but he's showing what he's about. That he gets onto the ball, he doesn't even take a touch. Just looks up, sees Salah in open space and says, you know what, I'm just going to fire it straight. And I know I have enough trust in my legs. I have enough trust in those thick calves of mine to land it right where I want to. And he does that. He absolutely just nails the pass. And let's not even... the words cannot even begin to describe the finish, the first touch and the finish from Mohamed Salah. Unbelievable, isn't it? Like, just the way he took it with his right foot and then side foots it past the keeper with his left. Just a little dink over the keeper, little just past his reach. And what a finish that is. 2-0 Liverpool in the blink of an eye. It was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. And the third goal, again, another piece of mastery. This time Oxlade-Chamberlain, another substitute who comes on. And he comes in and, he does this little 1-2 with Firmino and that back heel. Obviously, got a little bit of lucky in terms of, it took a little bit of a deflection. But, yeah, I mean, so everybody thought Firmino was going to go for the shot. Passes it to Wijnaldum. Firmino, the ever selfless guy. He's back on form, by the way. Firmino is back on form. Let's just get that right out of the way. He's back on form. He's back to his best. He's playing really good football. Like, whatever it was that these guys were in, whatever funk that these guys were in, they've snapped out of it. They've snapped out of it. And it's these moments of magic, it's these moments of brilliance that we've missed. And I said Divock Origi was very bad in the first half. I wouldn't say very bad, but he was bad in the first half. In fact, I think what I would say is by his own standards, he was actually average, but his standards are so low that he was still bad by the rest of the team's standards. I think there were a lot of times I just watched in frustration when Divock Origi had the ball. He was slow. I was like, take a decision faster. He just slowed the things down, slowed the game down. And he's not an attacking midfielder. Like he's not a midfielder who dictates tempo. Like he's not Thiago. Thiago can slow the game down if he wants to. Thiago can speed the game up if he wants to. And today we saw both examples of that. Multiple times over the past couple of games, we've seen Thiago do what Thiago does. He controls the tempo of the game. But Divock Origi cannot be doing that. Let's just get that right out of the way. Divock Origi cannot be doing that. And, for me personally, I think this was a classic Liverpool performance. Quick, counter-attacking, decisive. The second half, the first half was very, very lifeless. The second half was anything but lifeless. And this was a very classic Liverpool performance. I absolutely loved this. I thought Trent was really good. I thought Robertson did really well. Although he could have had a better game in my opinion, but he did quite well. Nat Phillips, shout out to the guy, man. Every time he's put on a Liverpool jersey, he's been absolutely brilliant. Now, I think personally, Nat Phillips, there are better centre-backs available than him. But he gives it his 100%, which is what I can ask as a Liverpool fan. Just give your 100%, do your best. The thing with Nat Phillips is, if we were a team like Burnley, who love to hoof the ball up front, I'm not looking for a ball-playing centre-back. If we're looking at that sort of a team, Nat Phillips would fit that team perfectly, right? Nat Phillips would walk in my opinion, he would walk into the Burnley starting lineup right now, over Ben Mee and over Tarkowski. He would walk in. Definitely, or at least at the very least be third choice there. So if we were a team like that, if we needed centre backs like that, if Nat Phillips was maybe 10 years younger or born 10 years earlier and had a football career, I think he would have been at Liverpool. But the fact that he's right now he's stuck in a Liverpool team where we're looking to play out the back. This is not maybe the right time for him, but he's definitely done unbelievably well. Kept Mikel Antonio absolutely quiet throughout the game. Very, very happy about his performance. I have backed Nat Phillips. I still think we need a centre-back. I still think he's not good enough to play for Liverpool, but I definitely think this man has a career in the Premier League. Whether that's at Burnley, whether that's at another team, I think it's lower down the table. I think it's a team like Newcastle, for example, could definitely use Nat Phillips. Although, to be fair, they do have some good centre-backs in Fabian Schär and Federico Fernandes and Jamal Lascelles, obviously, but I think they definitely could use someone like Nat Phillips. But I don't think he's Liverpool. I don't think he's cut out for Liverpool, but he's definitely given a 100% performance today. My only worry is that FSG is going to look at his performance and say we don't need a centre back. So that's kind of my only thing. And Nat Phillips, he's good for teams like West Ham. He's good for teams that have physical strikers that aren't very creative. That Liverpool tend to dominate games against. But the moment you put him up against a Manchester United, a Manchester City, a Chelsea, a Tottenham, for example, I wouldn't be as confident, let's say. I said it, I said it on another group. Like, I wouldn't be confident with him going up against someone like Harvey Barnes, let alone someone like Raheem Sterling. So, there's levels to this. But Nat Phillips, today, just based off of today, unbelievable performance. Hopefully he can keep this up. Hopefully he can build on this. It'll be good for his confidence. It's good for his market value as well. So if you're looking to move him on in the summer, these performances are only going to help. Jordan Henderson, another class performance. I think the way he played at centre-back today was maybe not, right up there as one of his best ever centre-back performances. I thought, a couple of games before he had really good games. But he's had a good game. It's definitely at least a 7 out of 10 at the very least. So I don't think I can ask for much more than that. Thiago in the middle of the park, Wijnaldum, Milner, they all did really well. Curtis Jones was this absolute creative spark that we needed. Yeah, his dynamism was unquestioned. Shaqiri, his work rate, dynamism, creativity. I mean, where do I even start with this man? This guy, he's got the assist, obviously got subbed off right after the assist, but just the vision, the little 1-2s, I think we were missing that. There's no substitute for quality. There's no substitute for creativity. And no matter how many James Milners you have in your team, that's not going to help against teams like West Ham. And this is no disrespect to James Milner. It's just that West Ham is not the kind of opposition that he's suited to. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain got the hockey assist, I guess you can call it, for the Wijnaldum goal. For those of you who don't follow ice hockey, it's basically the guy who makes the pass before the assist is also credited with the assist, which is why you say it's a hockey assist. But yeah, I mean, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, I thought he did very brief cameo, but I thought he did really well, and he was just really good. And I thought he did well. Maybe he didn't have as much time to make an impact, but he did quite well. And then you've got who else was there? Curtis. I've already spoken about Curtis. There's no question about that. Yeah, he wins the ball in midfield. I'm watching the highlights of the first goal right now. He wins the ball in midfield, passes it off to Trent to Salah. It's Trent to Shaqiri to Curtis to Salah, and then Salah just brilliant finish into the top corner. But this whole thing starts off with Curtis, and that's the level of enthusiasm, that's the level of directness, the skill that Curtis brings to this team, and that we were missing in the first half. Someone to just run at them. Now West Ham, obviously, they committed men forward once they went 1-0 down, which is they committed men to the corner, which you can understand because they do have the height advantage. I think in our team, aside from Origi and Nat Phillips, I don't think anyone was capable of winning a header against the West Ham centre backs. So, yeah, I think at one stage, even the commentators pointed out, they had Thiago marking Angelo Ogbonna, which is probably the biggest mismatch on the field, in my opinion. But unbelievable, counter-attack after that corner. I don't think I've seen many better than that. Yeah. I mean, overall, today's performance, first half, lifeless. I would have given it at best a 4 out of 10. But second half, as a team, I got to say, man, aside from Origi, I think he's the only one who drags the ratings down a little bit. I think, but once Origi went off and, once the substitutions were in, once Firmino was on, there was no question. Now, on the flip side, I do hope Origi is still fit because we do need to rotate and he did go off with an injury. So I do hope he's still fit. We can't afford any more injuries. I know, obviously, Minamino is still waiting in the background to play, and we can always use him, but I think we still need Origi. So, I just hope he's not injured, but he needs to improve his game massively because right now things are not looking good for him. Honestly, if I was looking at Liverpool's transfer plans in the summer, I think right now Origi would be at the forefront of the outgoing list. And this is aside from your Naby Keita, who's always injured, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, based off of today, I can't say much. He did get the assist, like I said, or the hockey assist, like I said, but I can't say much because he didn't have time to make an impact on the game. But hopefully going on in the future, he will get more chances and more opportunities to impact the game. Let's see how that turns out to be. But that is it from me at full time. I am so happy that we got 3 points today against West Ham. Tough opposition. Going to London Stadium is never easy. And it seems to be a favorite hunting ground of ours, but it's never easy to actually go there. But yeah, I mean, I'm just really happy that we came away with 3 points. I am just chuffed. I am thrilled. Just the idea that, we're right back in it now. We're right back in it. We're in the thick of things. And, we're 4 points behind Man City. Obviously, City has played a game less. We are 1 point behind Manchester United. We're right back in it, man. I mean, and with this depleted squad, I think if we can mount a title challenge, I would consider this a fairly successful season. So, yeah, hopefully, I'm not jinxing it, but let's just hope that we can continue this form and hopefully we can actually go on and achieve great things this year. But that is it from me from West Ham versus Liverpool. Raw reactions. Full-time score, 3-1 to Liverpool. Mo Salah with the praise, Gini Wijnaldum with the goal. And in the end, I just think this is really good. And one final additional good piece of news is that, we've got Mo Salah at the top of the goal scoring charts, 3 clear of his nearest rival. So he's got 15 goals this season and he joins Ian Rush sometime in the 80s, was the last player to score 20 goals for 4 seasons in a row in all competitions. So, yeah, big achievement to him. So congratulations to him. Jordan Henderson is now the 4th highest leading appearances He's got the fourth highest leading appearances in the Premier League era for Liverpool. So congratulations to him as well. Lovely captain, absolutely love him. Yeah, I mean that about rounds it out. But hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoy Raw Reactions. Hopefully you guys enjoy the Red Mist podcast. Thank you guys for all the support. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. Next year I have bigger plans. I have stuff with YouTube as well planned, but more on that towards the end of the season, not right now. Right now I'm just going to revel in the win and just hopefully Spurs lose. I think they're playing next. I hope Spurs lose. But that's it from me. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, have a great weekend wherever you are. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.